Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're cracking open the hacker's playbook. We're going to look at exactly how the pros find and fix the security holes in the websites you use every single day.
So, you might be wondering, how do they actually do it? Is it just, random typing in a dark room? No way. There's a method to the madness. We're going to walk through the structured process these ethical hackers use, not just to cause trouble, but to make the web a whole lot safer for all of us.
The easiest way to think about it is like a three-stage mission. First, you've got to find a way in, that initial foothold. Then, you climb the ladder, getting more and more access. And finally, you capture the flag. That's the big prize. All right, before we jump into the stages, we need to get on the same page with a few key attacks. Let's start with a real classic, cross-site scripting, or XSS for short. Just imagine this. You're on a website you trust, right? Maybe a forum. But an attacker has sneakily posted a comment that's actually malicious code. Your browser? It can't tell the difference. It just loads the page and runs that code, thinking it's legitimate. And just like that, the website has been turned against you. That's the power of XSS.
Okay, next on our list is SQL injection, often called SQI. Now this one goes for the crown jewels, the database. Think of it as the digital vault holding all the good stuff. An attacker can literally inject their own commands into a simple search box or a login form, and if the site's not protected, they can trick the database into spitting out everything, user list, passwords, you name it. A successful SQI is just devastating. It can mean total data compromise.
And the last one we'll define for now is server-side request forgery, or SSRF. This one is really clever. It's an attack where you basically trick a website server into making web requests for you. You're turning the server into your own personal puppet. And because that request is coming from a trusted server on the inside, it can often access all sorts of juicy internal systems and protected cloud data that you, as an outsider, could never touch.
All right, let's get into it. Stage 1, finding a foothold. Everything, and I mean everything, starts here. It's all about punching that first hole in the wall and getting inside.
So you can't just start attacking blindly, right? You've got to map out the terrain first. This is the reconnaissance phase, kind of like casing a joint before a heist. The pros will use automated tools to fuzz the site, basically throwing everything at it to find hidden pages or directories. But the real secret sauce, it's often manual. They'll literally read the website's source code, line by line, looking for little clues, comments that a developer forgot to delete that might reveal a secret path or an internal system.
Now, when it comes to XSS, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. You've got reflected XSS, which is more of a quick hit. It relies on tricking someone into clicking a specially crafted bad link. But then, you have stored XSS. And this one is a whole different beast. It's way more dangerous because the malicious script gets saved permanently on the server itself. Think of a poisoned comment or a hacked user profile. It just sits there like a digital landmine waiting to go off for anyone who stumbles upon that page.
And listen, getting that foothold is about more than just XSS. An attacker's toolkit is packed with options here. They could be looking for DOM-based XSS, which is super sneaky because it all happens right inside your browser. Or they might try something like web cache poisoning, where they corrupt a shared cache to serve bad content to tons of users at once. They'll even try super advanced stuff like HTTP request smuggling to sneak past firewalls. But no matter the technique, the goal is always the same. Find that one way in.
Okay, so we're in. We've got our foothold. Now what? Well, you don't want to stand the wobby, right? It's time for stage 2, climbing the ladder. This is all about escalating your privileges and gaining more and more control over the system.
And this really is the core of the climb. You start out as a nobody, just a standard user with barely any permissions. But the goal is to work your way up until you have the keys to the entire kingdom, that all-powerful administrator account that can see everything and do anything.
So how do you make that climb? Well, you use a whole different set of tools. You might use something called cross-site request forgery, or CSRF. That's where you trick an already logged-in user's browser into doing something they didn't intend, like changing their own password for you. Or maybe you'll find a flaw in the JSON Web Tokens the site uses for authentication and just forge yourself an admin token.
There are even wild JavaScript attacks like prototype pollution that let you mess with the application's very core logic to give yourself more power. Now here's where it gets really strategic, especially in a testing scenario. A lot of the time, there might only be one other active user on the system, the admin. So think about it. If your first way in was totally passive, say you poisoned a web cache, you're still stuck. Your next move has to be interactive. You need to find some way to get that admin to trigger your payload. Maybe you trick them with a CSRF attack, but you have to get them to act. That's how you climb.
And here we are, the summit. Stage 3, capturing the flag. This is the endgame. This is where all the hard work pays off and the attacker finally gets what they came for.
So, after all that effort, finding a way in, climbing the ladder, what's the actual prize? What is the endgame here? What is an attacker really after?
Well, for one thing, it could be pure data theft. An attack called XXE, or XML External Entity, is a perfect example. Lots of apps use XML to structure data. If there's a vulnerability in how they handle it, an attacker can trick the application into coughing up sensitive files right from the server's hard drive. We're talking config files, private keys, all the good stuff.
Or the prize could be a file path traversal. The best way to picture this is like a digital jailbreak. See, a web server is supposed to keep you locked inside one specific folder, the web root. But this vulnerability lets an attacker break out of that folder and roam free, reading critical files from anywhere on the server, things like the password file or other system secrets.
But let's be honest, the real holy grail, the ultimate prize, is almost always RCE, remote code execution. This is it, game over. When an attacker gets RCE, it means they can run any command they want on that server. They don't just have your data anymore, they own the entire machine. It's total control.
But you know, this whole playbook, it's more than just a list of technical steps. To actually succeed at this, whether you're on the offense or the defense, you need a certain mindset.
And here's what it really boils down to. The most critical skill in a security pro's arsenal isn't breaking things, it's identification. It's that subtle art of seeing something weird, a strange error message, a slow response, and having that little light bulb go off. It's the ability to recognize the faint whisper of a vulnerability when everyone else just sees noise.
And that brings us to maybe the most important quality of all, pure, simple perseverance. The source material for this explainer really hammers this home. Success in this game is all about persistence. It's about trying 10 different doors when the first 9 are locked. It's about refusing to give up when you hit a wall, because you just know there's almost always another way in.
So we're left with this final thought. Look, the whole point of learning this playbook isn't just to see how things get hacked. It's to figure out how to protect them. So the real question isn't just how it's done. It's whether you can be the one to use this knowledge to find that weakness first and lock the door before anyone else gets there. If you found this explainer helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more.